All right, y'all. A little Tony Robbins for you this morning. A little Tony Robbins. Hey, how have you wired yourself? Ooh, that sun is bright. Look at that. Look at that. Yay for the sun in the winter. How about that? Anyway, yeah. How have you wired yourself? How have you wired yourself? Have we been thinking about what we're thinking about? How we've been thinking about what Tony Robbins is talking about? How we've primed ourselves? How we've done something over and over again for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now we have to unlearn that code. We have to unlearn that priming. We have to unlearn what we've been doing all this time to get us where we are right now because we want to go to a different place. That's this process. Easier said than done. I get it. Easier said than done. But this is what's happening. If you ever feel like you are going through similar things, you hit the same issues, it's because you've kind of primed yourself. You've created this routine to keep you kind of where you are. And it's unconscious. We talked about this on Friday. Sometimes this is unconscious beliefs. We listened to Joe Dispenza talk about our conscious and unconscious thoughts. We have to grab a hold of the unconscious things. That's why I make you aware of this stuff. Awareness is the first step to change, right? Awareness is the first step to change. If you want to change any area of your life, the first thing is you got to be aware. You got to be aware of what's even happening, right? So a lot of things you heard Tony Robbins in there talk about, life is happening for you, not to you. Is that your belief? I hope that is your belief. I hope you are not a person that says, man, this happened to me. My boss did this to me. My job did this to me. This happened to me. No, no, no. Life is happening for you. It's happening for you to get to the vision that you have. But what do I always tell you? You're building the capacity to handle that life. You don't have the capacity to handle the life that you're asking for. Otherwise, you would have it. So you have to build it. Well, how do we build it? We have to actually go through the rough periods of life. We have to go through the discouragement. We have to go through the trials, the losses, the fears. Like we have to go through that stuff so that you know on the other side of that, you're going to be better. You already feel that. You know when you go through hard things, yeah, it doesn't feel good at the time, but then you look back 2 years later and you're like, man, that made me better. I'm not doing that again. Now I've learned. Now I've built some capacity. Now I have a little bit more tenacity, a little bit more grit because I had to go through that rough period. If everything was just good for you in your life and you thought that, right, you had things where you're not growing. And we know if you're not growing, you're dying. Hey, problems are gifts. Tony Robbins said that in there. Problems are gifts. Do you see it that way? Is that your belief? Is that a way that you've trained your brain to see problems, to see adversity, to see situations, that these are gifts? These come into my life to make me better. I know you hear me say it a lot, but do you believe that by now? Or are we still under the belief that, man, this is a problem. Man, I got to do this. No, no, no. Like it might not feel good, but it's making you better. Is that your belief? I hope it is. We got to be aware of the invisible forces, the things that are controlling us that likely we don't know that are controlling us. It's incredibly important that we do that, that we're 100% aware of like what actually is controlling our thinking. You know, I've told you guys this over and over again that your thinking comes from what you're putting in your eye gates and ear gates, what you see, the people you're around, the conversations you're having. That's how we get the thoughts. Your thoughts mostly are not your thoughts. Like we can take this to a very like meta place right now. Like these thoughts did not come from me. What I'm giving you, we watch videos of other people saying these. I just happen to be priming myself to be learning this stuff for a decade. I didn't have these thoughts coming out the womb. It's what I consumed with my eyes and my ears that then became my thoughts that now I pass. So you have to think for yourself. Well, how did I get my thoughts? How did I think about this thing? Right? And that becomes how we change what it is that we're thinking about. Two last things that Tony Robbins said I really want to bring your attention to. You have to train your state. That's your energy. You've heard me say this before. It takes energy to go after your goals and dreams. It takes energy to go after a different life. It takes energy to pursue something that's outside of your comfort. It takes energy. So when most people don't have energy, when you do things that have stolen your energy, when you're walking around with no energy, like no wonder you can't get to the life you want. No wonder it feels like pulling teeth to change your thinking or change this habit or do this thing. It's because we haven't managed our state. And Tony Robbins says the first thing you got to learn to manage is your state, your actions and your attitude, how your level of energy throughout the day, your level of vigor throughout the day. It doesn't mean you're always happy, or it just means that like you can manage. You're not always down. You're not always lethargic. You're not always tired. You're not always, oh, I'm so busy. Like I told you guys Friday, right? It's not a flex to be busy in 2026. It's not a flex to be busy. It's not a flex to have no time. It's not a flex to be like, oh man, like I'm so busy, I can't catch up. I can't take care of myself. That's not cool anymore. Like, I don't know. At one point, it might have like gave you some cool points because you're so busy. Now, when we want to go off and design our ideal life, it's not cool. We have to be able to train our state. We have to be able to give ourselves energy. So we have to be aware of the things that give us energy and the things that take away our energy. What are the things that give you energy? Do you know that? The sun gives me a ton of energy. Right, Ron? Ron's outside. But the sun gives me a ton of energy. It really does. Like, that's why throughout the spring and summer and into the fall, like I'm in the middle of my day, I go outside and I walk. I take in the sun. I just sit. Like, it doesn't matter because I know that gives me energy. You know what takes away my energy? Like Tony Robbins said, doom scrolling on social. You do that for 45 minutes, even though you think it puts you to bed, like you're actually losing energy. You're draining yourself more and more and more. It becomes a loop. Do you know that about yourself? Do you know what's draining you? It could be people. People take your energy. You can say no to people, though. Have you made that boundary? Do you choose to say no to people because they take your energy? Managing your state is important. Last thing I wrote down is you got to practice beyond your comfort zone. You got to push yourself. You got to, like, again, we talk about comfort zone a lot, but a lot of times when we think about how do we get to the best version of ourselves, we actually do the things that are most comfortable. It's just a loop. It's a cycle until you start getting the thing like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Man, this is really hard. Man, this is really uncomfortable. Man, that's really weird. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and I was giving him some ideas of what he can go do to get towards his vision. And one of the things that I said, his first reaction to it was like, that's weird. Like, why would I? And I was like, that's exactly what you need to go do. Because your spirit pushes against it, because you think it's a little weird. It's not hurting anybody. It's not hurting you. It's just uncomfortable for you. That's the thing that you got to do to go grow. How often are you feeling that in your day-to-day? How often are you feeling like, man, I'm really doing the thing I don't want to do, and it's really uncomfortable? Or are we just saying, I'm going to do the things I think and I know and I think that are comfortable for me to do, because you're really not growing until you give that friction, until you push back, until you say, oh man, this is uncomfortable. I get the little butterflies. I don't really know if this is the right path. I need my faith. I need to pray. Like, until that is your mode, you're not pushing yourself out of your comfort zone as much as you think, ladies and gentlemen. And that's how we grow. We know this. I picked this chapter in our text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets. As I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about another chapter, right, that says champions raise their vibration at will, right? That's one of the things that Tony was just talking about. I chose to look at this one, Champions of the Power of Programming, just so you remember that, like, priming, programming, right? All of this stuff is the same. How you get your information, what you're saying to yourself, all of those things create the thoughts you have in your mind, which then creates the life that you're experiencing right now. I just want you to make that connection. Whatever life you're experiencing right now is just a product of how you've been thinking about it and how you've been programmed. So the good part is we can change the programming. We can reprogram, right? We can reprogram. Now, some of y'all might have been doing certain things for, like I said, 30, 40, 50 years. So it takes a little bit longer to reprogram. But that's how we get to the life we don't need to break from. Remember, that's what we're here for. This isn't for the average, ordinary person that just wants to stay where they are. God bless them, right? But at the end of the day, if you have vision, you say, hey, there's some things I want to get to in my health life, in my relationship, in my finances. Like there's a place I'm like, I see more. Then you have to go through this process of unlearning and relearning, of reprogramming yourself for the things that you want. Here's what it says in the text. It says, the majority of champions I've worked with and coached during the years confess the bulk of mental programming they received during their childhood was substandard. By the way, that's where we get most of our programming, right? It's beliefs that our parents passed down to us, or our peers, or our growing up environment where we're so impressionable, where all these life is making an impression on us. That's why we can all quote things that our parents have said, or we remember very, very vividly, like how our parents or like the people that raised us, like their environment. It's because that's where we were the most impressionable. And it says here, the bulk of people, right, confess that the bulk of their mental programming they received during their childhood was substandard. Many are quick to add that the people who program them, parents, teachers, coaches, ministers, and adults of influence, were doing the best they could based on the level of awareness at the time. It's easy to criticize in hindsight, yet champions don't feel the need to do this. They want to take control of their own reprogramming process and install the habits, philosophies, traits, and beliefs that empower rather than limit them. And say that sentence one more time. They want to take control of their own reprogramming process and install the habits, philosophies, traits, and beliefs that empower rather than limit them. Middle-class performers scoff at things like reprogramming and tend to hold on to what they were taught, no matter how poor their teacher's thinking. The pros use two primary methods of reprogramming. First and foremost, they alter the language they use when they talk to themselves and others. They adjust their language from middle class to world class level. They create self-talk scripts and repeat them daily until the change takes place. The second thing they do is use the power of mental pictures or visualization training to adjust how they experience events. The combination of these two change processes has a powerful effect on the mindset of the performer. Sadly, the concepts are so simple that most people miss them. Meanwhile, the great ones keep getting stronger and stronger by developing world-class thoughts, feelings, and attitudes through the reprogramming process. You have to understand that this process of you get into the life that you want is, like it says in here, taking control of your own reprogramming process. It's taking control of it. Ownership. I'm going to own it. Life is happening for me, not to me. I'm taking ownership of this part, and I am reprogramming myself to install the habits, the philosophies, the traits, and the beliefs that empower me to get to the life that I want. So what habits do you need to reprogram yourself with? What habits? What things are you doing that you know will take you away from the life that you want? And what things do you know you need to do that are going to take you towards the life that you want? Habits. The philosophies. How you think about things, your own philosophy, whatever you have been given, whatever through your experiences, you've created this way of thinking. What do you need to reprogram so that you have something that empowers you to get to that place? Instead of a philosophy that, oh man, it's hard to do this, I don't need the money. Like whatever the thoughts and the philosophies you have in your mind, we probably need to do some reprogramming to get to the life we want. What about the traits? What about the beliefs? This is what it comes down to, y'all. What about your beliefs? Are your beliefs empowering or are they limiting? Typically, they're limiting to a degree because they came from people who were limited. And they, again, no blame to them. That was their level of conscious awareness. They didn't get the privilege to jump on mindset calls. They didn't get the privilege to sit down and listen to. People don't understand how important the internet is. I made a post about this a long time ago. Just being able to access fly on the wall type conversation, just be able to access information that previous generations couldn't even access. They couldn't even access it. They'd have to go seek it. Like it's at our fingertips. And we're playing games. We're playing around with it's so powerful because this will change your beliefs, y'all. You got to know that this is the process to get you to the life that you don't need to break from. This quote says, the programming that you accept from others and the conscious and unconscious directive directives, pictures, feelings, and thoughts that you transmit to yourself will find a place in your own internal control center. Together, those thoughts and images will continue to create, in advance, or influence on the spot every response, attitude, and action that will be a part of you and your future. You have to understand how important this is. So the action step for today says, make a decision today to take responsibility for old programming that does not serve you. It no longer serves the man or woman that you want to become. And practice reprogramming your old programs by altering your language, what you say, and what you're thinking about, what you see, your visualization training. And that's how you have to go off and do it. I know, easier said than done. Easier said than done. But guess what? It's not anything that's going to get you to the life that you want, anything that's going to take you to the life of your dreams. It's not going to be easy. It's just going to be worth it. So we got to show up this Monday, March the 9th, and let's do the work. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. I really believe that. I believe that for you. That's in my belief system, that you deserve to be successful. Like, you deserve all the things that you want, that you see in your mind. Like, you deserve it. But it's not just going to fall on you. It takes work. It takes real work. You have to become a different person so you can build the capacity to handle that life. And you need people along the journey with you to help you get there. And that's what we're here to do, y'all. Go out, push yourself out of your comfort zone today. Do something that scares you. Do something that challenges you. Your future self is going to thank you for it. We're going to be back here on Wednesday. I'll see you guys then. Take care.